Hey everybody, Kimber here for Moksha Yoga and Wellness. Wanted to chat with you about how the doshas are intertwined with our daily rhythms and the 24-hour cycle of the day to give you some tips on how you can use these different times of day to have a routine that really helps optimize your health and balance any imbalances that you may have. So when we look at the 24 hours of the day, we can divide it into 3 different sections. So we start at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the kapha time of day. So Ayurveda would tell us it's best to rise right around this time of day, right as the sun's coming up. Because if you wait too long and you're trying to get up during the kapha time, it's so hard to get out of bed. You feel lethargic, you feel heavy. You just don't have that energy to get up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and start the day. In this first part of the morning, that's when Ayurveda would say we should exercise and meditate. And then have our first meal around 7:30 a.m., more or less. During this kapha time in the morning, as maybe you start your work day, or if you're homeschooling children, doing some hard stuff here that may take some endurance and may take some thought and concentration, because you have kapha on your side. That staying power, the groundedness, the concentration, use that to your advantage. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is our Pitta time of day. So this is when our digestion is the strongest. Our Agni, fueled by that fire that fuels Pitta, is strongest during this time of day. So having your lunch maybe around 12:30 or so, giving lots of time to digest between breakfast and lunch. And having lunch be your biggest meal of the day. Have this be the main event. Because if your digestive fire is best at the middle of the day, why not use that to your advantage? Why not have a bigger lunch instead of taxing your digestion by having a late dinner when your body's not really ready to receive those nutrients? So during this Pitta time of day, we're avoiding really heavy exercise when we're already in that Pitta fiery state of mind, avoiding the direct sun perchance, especially if we have a lot of Pitta in our constitution. And then around 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is vata time of day. So what do we do in not coronavirus times in our normal Saturday 2 and 6 p.m.? This is when we're like going to the grocery store, bringing the kids to soccer practice, trying to make dinner, trying to get everybody fed. We're just rushing, which is not the thing you want to be doing during the vata time of day when there's already all of this movement and all of this mental energy happening. So staying a little bit more chilled out in this vata time of day between 2 and 6. And Ayurveda suggests an earlier, lighter dinner. So maybe eating around 5:30, dinner. And remember, if our main event was lunch, our dinner doesn't have to be so big. This doesn't have to be your steak and potatoes, because our body doesn't have as much digestion at this point in the day, so we don't want to overwhelm it. Soups and salads and lighter things are going to serve you much better here. And if you eat them earlier, you'll be able to fully digest. You want 2 or 3 hours before you go to bed. 5:30 is pretty optimal, but you don't want to be eating a big, heavy meal at 8:30 at night and then trying to go to bed at 10 o'clock. Your body's just going to feel like you have a really full stomach. It's going to be hard to get up the next day because you haven't actually processed all of that food that you put into your body. So this clock continues. So 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is back to another kapha time. So that's when we want our family time, our chill out, relax, relationship based. We're not doing anything too hard, maybe some light exercise like a walk around the block or a light swim, some yoga after dinner perhaps, after we've had enough time to digest, of course. But letting kapha just be this communal, congealing, easygoing time. So you're not answering work emails, you're not doing the hardest, most stressful things of your day between 6 and 10. And then Ayurveda suggests going to bed by 10 o'clock. And that's because if you do stay up, you probably can. You're going to hit that second wind, right, between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. You're going to say, I feel fine, I'm not even tired. That's because that Pitta has kicked back in, right? All of that energy and all of that fire that's keeping you awake. But think, kapha has this heavy downward grounding quality. Doesn't it just make more sense that you'd want to go to bed when that heavy downward grounding energy is highest? Your body is really setting you up for that. So going to bed around 10 p.m. So if you stay up later, it's going to be a lot harder to get up earlier. And making sure that you're getting a good night's sleep, that you're not going to be interrupted. Because vata comes back between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. So think about it. If you've ever woken up in the middle of the night and not been able to go back to sleep, hasn't it always been 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4:30, you know? It's during that vata time when your mind is at a little bit more of unrest that it may be hardest to stay asleep. So we want to make sure we're getting to sleep so that our sleep cycles allow us to be in deep REM sleep before this vata cycle hits. You can stay awake till your alarm goes off. You're well rested because you went to bed early. You can start the whole next day right, following this rhythm and this cycle. So even if your rhythm doesn't look exactly like this, that's totally okay. First of all, don't feel like you have to go change all of this and do this perfectly tomorrow. To set yourself up for success, think of what small incremental changes you can make is our first advice. And second, know that it's okay if you don't have it all perfect. Don't feel like this is a contest and you have to win. Ayurveda is this huge amount of lifestyle knowledge and system. So for thousands of years, we've been able to practice this. We know what works. I'm just rambling now. You're going to have to edit this out. There's something else that I wanted to say, and now I am forgetting. Oh, okay. The other important thing is just having a routine. So it's a big jump if your routine looks a lot different from this to jump to here. But what Ayurveda really sees benefit in is having some predictability from day to day. So if you wake up 5:30 or 6 in the morning during the weekday, but then you're sleeping in till 10 or 11 during the weekend, you're really not helping your body. If one day you eat breakfast at 9, and then the next day you don't eat breakfast at all, and then the day after you eat the breakfast at 6, there's no predictability for your body. And if we have that routine and that consistency, that's so much less energy your body has to expend taking care of all those things. If it knows what to expect, if you get in rhythm, this is really the circadian rhythm. This is nature's clock. This is how humans can be best humans in the world if we're paying attention to sunrise and sunset and wanting to attune our body back to those natural rhythms. But with things like screens and blue light, if you haven't already, I suggest getting a blue light filter for your phone, your TV, and trying to put screens away before bed. They can raise the cortisol level, which is the stress hormone in your brain, and make it harder to go to sleep. So getting on some sort of routine that eventually looks like this one is the best thing you can do. But don't feel like you have to do it all right now and that it all has to be perfect. Know that it's a process and be kind and gentle with yourself. And the very first step is just making sure that your days do have some sort of routine and predictability is really going to help your body out. So let us know what questions you have below and what else you'd like to learn about how the doshas are impacted by the daily clock and any sort of Ayurveda routine, and we'd be happy to answer them.